Buenos dias, amigos. It is I, the man without a face, El Ojo. Today we are on our third film of the Las Luchadoras Film Series, titled Las Lobas del Ring. Filmed in 1965, this film is directed by Rene Cardona and starring Lorena Velázquez and Elizabeth Campbell. Unfortunately, this is Lorena's last appearance as Gloria Venus, allegedly due to her boyfriend at the time not being a fan of her making movies. Lorena Velázquez would eventually come back and star as a villain opposite the legendary masked luchador El Santo. But fear not, we still have 3 films left in the series, those being Las Mujeres Panteras, Las Luchadoras contra el Robot Asesino, and the final film in the series, La Repelente Bestia Humana. Before we get started, I have a question. Do you like the movie Bloodsport? Mortal Kombat? A tournament of the best fighters in the world competing for a prize of 1 million pesos. Well, you're in luck. This film includes 2 teams of female técnicas and rudas in a tournament-style movie. It is the second highest rated luchadora film in the series with a 5.4 on IMDb. Let the tournament begin. The title card, Las Lobas del Ring. A room full of men in suits. Mr. Delphine has brought wrestling promoters from across the country together. Mr. Delphine explains he has a plan for a national tournament, with a finale at the capital, and a 1 million peso cash prize. The promoters can make money from the hype of the tournament, and have elimination matches at each of their respective arenas. All the men agree, and are excited to participate, and begin promoting the tournament on TV and radio. A newsboy is on a street corner, announcing the tournament. 2 people pass by, and we get our first reoccurring joke of the movie. Some guy who looks like Capulina, but is definitely not Capulina, says, "Quiero sangre," which means, "I want blood." As the fan explains, blood is the reason he prefers men's matches over women's. This joke would have been funny if it was used sparingly. It is not. Lorena Venus, who had a name change in Las Luchadoras contra la Momia, go check that out if you haven't already, walks into some kind of convention with the wrestling promoter, and Goldie and Ruby says hello. The other women walk in. Suzuki, Tonya, Chabela, Marlena, with her boo, Nacho. This is where we get our second and third reoccurring joke of the movie. The second joke is Marlena is long-winded and tells terrible poems. The third is Marlena and Nacho are a honeymooners couple, but Marlena is the mean one. And instead of quips, she beats up Nacho. Also, in this scene, she threatens Nacho because he is late with her pills and begins to emotionally manipulate him. Cut to the men's gym, where Suzuki and Chabela ask the men for help. And holy birthday cake, Batman! We get a bunch of cameos, including but not limited to El Cavernario Galindo, Murciélago Velázquez, who's been the main henchman in our previous 3 reviews, Black Shadow, maskless, Doyle Dixon, and Rey Mendoza. Yes, that Rey Mendoza, who is the patriarch of the famous lucha family Los Villanos of WCW fame. In fact, this film has more wrestlers listed in the credits. El Hombre Montaña, Chabela Romero, Irma Gonzalez, Gerardo Cepeda. It is also hard to see these wrestlers since the film is grainy, and this film is considered lost media. So if there are any wrestlers I missed, leave a comment below. Back to the film. In a training ring, we have a rookie named Irma, who gets in the ring with La Pantera. But Pantera beats her up. Tonya, another heel, or Ruda, is nice enough to give us exposition and tell everyone Pantera has been wrestling for 20 years and abandoned her true love to chase money. I guess money doesn't buy happiness. Venus and Ruby walk in and, like the good protagonist, tell Pantera to stop beating up Irma. Venus even jumps in the ring and squares up to Pantera, foreshadowing a third act that never materializes, while Marlena cheers on. Thankfully, Suzuki and male luchadores walk in and break up the fight. Murciélago reminds the girls that an unsanctioned fight will bar them from the tournament, so the rudas walk away. There's actually a fun little cameo in the background. One of the luchadoras is actually wearing an off-colored Santo mask. As the ring clears, Cavernario hits on Venus, but Marlena defends Venus' honor due to reasons. After the scuffle, we see Chabela and Irma train with Murciélago and Rey Mendoza. They actually beat up the men with relative ease, and she's rough. I do want to point out, since this movie is in black and white, it is very hard to differentiate people. They have the same haircuts and wear the same black bodysuits. We also get the groundwork for the B-plot. Marlena trains with men as she wants revenge on Bernardo, the man who killed her father and is now free, and his brother to Sonia, La Borrada. Marlena swears if she sees him, she will take revenge. Venus, along with her boyfriend Luciano and Golden Ruby, are eating dinner. By the way, I am not changing the design of these characters since I hand draw these and they take time to draw. Venus gives exposition. She wants to wrestle to support her mom, and Luciano asks her to marry him. Venus says, "No, I want to earn my own money and be a millionaire." Good for her. Then comes Golden Ruby's boyfriend, Pompin. The couple starts to dance, and Ruby carries Pompin, but some random man comes to defend the honor of Pompin. Because in the 1960s, men couldn't be offended by women, so Golden Ruby beats him up for being nosy. At Marlena's house, she is like any great Aztec warrior, a fighter, and a poet. But unlike the great Netzacoyotl, her poems stink. Even her boyfriend makes fun of them, so Marlena orders him to shut up. She does more stand-up poetry before beating up Nacho, Misandry. After, she tells him cutesy stuff before beating and choking him. Emotional manipulation. I feel like I should call the authorities. This is toxic behavior. We are at some random dance with really good groovy music. I couldn't find the title, I tried. All the male luchadores are at House Technica. Venus tells Marlena and the other girls that if one of the Technicas wins the tournament, the winner should share the prize. All the girls agree and celebrate. Meanwhile, at the villain's house, we see the leader, Sonia, La Borradora, monologue her plan, and we are officially introduced to Casa Ruda, the masked villain, Vendetta. No, not from Las Luchadoras contra el Médico Asesino. The veteran powerhouse, Pantera, and Tonya, and possibly Sonia's evil brother, Bernardo. They are going to cheat so someone on their team can share the prize. Bernardo is played by Eric del Castillo. If that name sounds familiar, it's because he is the father of legendary actress Kate del Castillo. You may remember her from such projects including Under the Same Moon, La Reina del Sur, and Bad Boys for Life. Does this have anything to do with Lucha Libre? No, but Kate del Castillo is an amazing actress. Tonya convinces Bernardo to help the girls cheat by flirting. At Venus's mom's house, her mom asks, "When will you leave the ring?" A very supportive mother, if I ever heard one. Venus's mom is afraid Venus will be injured. Match number 1, por 2 de 3 caídas. Venus versus Vendetta. This is not a rematch. We do get the reoccurring joke, where the fan yells, "I want blood," and his friend tells him, "Shut up, you sound like a vampire." The match is typical, arm drag, and for variety, another arm drag. Venus wins the match. Luciano tells Ruby and Pimpon he wants to leave because he didn't want to see the match, even though Venus won with ease. Bernardo tells his henchmen that he plans to intimidate House Technica by abducting Suzuki. Outside House Technica one evening, Suzuki says bye to Marlena, Nacho, and Venus, and Chabela. Marlena beats up Nacho after he compliments her, while Suzuki walks in an alley. She gets jumped. She takes on 3 men with ease, until the 4th man pistol whips her. The next day, Venus and Ruby make out with their boyfriends at a park, while Sonia and Bernardo plot. Back at House Technica, the girls are looking nervous, wondering what happened to Suzuki. Marlena tells a bad poem. Venus says, focus on the match. Match number 2, por 2 de 3 caídas. Marlena la Poesía versus Tonya Rubio. Tonya, being the ruda, attacks when Marlena turns her back. Tonya wins, which I think is fair, seeing as Marlena is not only physically abusive, but emotionally, especially to her husband. Newspaper headline, Tonya advances in tournament, Suzuki loses by default. Back at Casa Ruda, Sonia and her brother are planning on backstabbing the other baddies, but Tonya says she doesn't trust anyone when it comes to money, and storms off. Bernardo tries to stop Tonya from leaving, but Sonia stops Bernardo, then immediately changes her mind and yells, "Go get her!" Bernardo tries to stop Tonya from telling the police, but when that doesn't work, a newspaper headline reads, "Sonia found, not alive." Geez, I wonder what happened. At House Technica, the cops are asking if Tonya had any enemies. Not sure why you wouldn't ask her friends, the Rudas. Venus notices a black car outside House Technica and says it's Bernardo, Sonia's brother, who killed Chapela's dad. Bernardo sends one of his henchmen to disappear Suzuki, and tells him Alfonso will follow him in case he needs anything. But it's a trap! He tells Alfonso to eliminate the henchman after the job is done. Fun fact, Alfonso is actually played by Frankenstein Nathaniel Leon, a legit wrestler, and the main henchman to Bernardo. He actually appears in 14 lucha movies, usually opposite El Santo Blue Demon, Capulina, Chanok, and Huracan Ramirez. Match number 3, Sonia La Borrada vs Chabela Romero. Or duo, the male wrestlers and Bernardo are at ringside, but Bernardo sees Chabela. She becomes distracted and Sonia takes full advantage. The fan wants blood, and Sonia wins the match by distraction. At Bernardo's hideout, he tells his sister she is not allowed at the clubhouse, so the police won't come looking for them. She encourages Bernardo to eliminate the competition. Bernardo says Suzuki had to disappear, and once Alfonso eliminates the henchman, Bernardo will eliminate Alfonso. Now this is something I do like, Rudos not getting along. Back at House Technica, Loretta gives Golden Ruby a pep talk about her match with La Pantera. Match number 4, La Pantera vs Golden Ruby. I kind of feel like I'm watching a late episode of WCW Nitro. Long segments, 2-minute matches. Is this Nitro or Monday Night Raw during the Divas era? Am I right? Golden Ruby wins, by the way. So we do now get the Pantera vs Venus match, which was set up in the first act. The news reporter announces that there are 16 luchadoras left in the 1 million peso tournament. And we get the names of competitors we never heard of before or after. Match number 5, Marina Rey vs Lidio. Lidio wins. Our announcer then lets us know that there are 8 women left in this Queen of the Ring. Match number 6, Lidia vs Irma from House Technica. I kind of feel like the matches with no names should have gone first, and have the established characters defeat the no-names, so that the competition could build rivalries and add weight leading into the third act. But what do I know? El Ojo is just a 2D avatar. Now the announcer gives exposition for the next match, Marta Solis vs Dalia Negra. Meanwhile, Sonia, Golden Ruby, and Loretta Venus remain in the tournament. What's this? Sonia and Irma are actually working together. Sonia orders Irma to get Golden Ruby drunk. Match number 7, Sonia La Borrada versus Golden Ruby. The winner faces Loretta. Ruby is stumbling and loses. At the men's gym, we get Murcielago and Cavernario talking about how one of the girls is about to be a millionaire. And they also talk about the futility of life. Kind of a sad scene, really. So they start wrestling. And go rough, to the point where everyone else is concerned if this is a shoot. But like any good combat sport, they hug it out after. I kind of feel like this was included to get around the censors since they are sparring and not having an actual match. It's also nice to see the wrestlers show personality, as most of the time they're just background characters or henchmen. We get another promo for the main event. At Venus' mom's house, Luciano and Pimpon agree to go with Venus to the arena, and Golden Ruby will stay at Venus' mom's house. Venus and the boys leave, but 3 men break into the apartment. Ruby takes on 3 of them until Venus' mom comes out from her room, and Ruby gets knocked out from behind. Meanwhile, at the locker room, Pimpon asks Venus if she wants a swig. Venus says no, I have never drank. Pimpon says me neither, and begins drinking, as Irma and Luciano look on. Loretta's mom and Ruby are taken to Bernardo's lair. In Sonia's locker room, she orders an old man to give Venus a letter. Once Venus receives the letter, she goes into the hallway and calls a strange number. It's her mom! Venus goes to Sonia's dressing room and Sonia says, your mom is safe, as long as you lose. Sonia goes after the match and tells Venus that she will win the first match, but Venus will lose the second round, and the third. Match number 8 and final match of the evening, con 2 de 3 caídas, Sonia La Borrada versus Loretta Venus. The fans boo because it's a bad match. Chabela and Bernardo look on. Back at the bad guy's lair, the gang watches the match, and Alfonso says they will kill the women when the match is over. Meanwhile, the gang is so distracted that Ruby calls the male luchadors for help. They break through the windows and beat up the gang. Ruby and Venus' mom take a cab to the arena. Back at the arena, Venus is being thrown around like que monito. Venus' mom and Ruby walk in, and with the power of parental approval, Venus beats Sonia. Bernardo sees the writing on the wall and flees. Chabela chases after him and beats him in the hallway. She punches him so hard he flies through a door and lands on a generator and explodes. Back at House Technica, everyone shows up to celebrate. Marlena wants to do poetry, but her husband Nacho hits her with a flower pot. Everyone laughs. Nacho stands proud, like the SpongeBob episode Wormy from Season 2, Episode 25, when SpongeBob says, "We did it, Patrick. We saved the city." Meanwhile, Suzuki and Bernardo are in the Shadow Realm, Venus and Ruby's mom were abducted, and Chabela definitely murdered someone. Finn. And that was Luchadora Bloodsport. Since we are halfway through the film series, I wanted to ask the fans a question. Who should our next series be about? You can vote by leaving a comment below. Would you like to see Neutron, Los Campeones Justicieros, Huracán Ramírez, Super Zan, Sovek, La Sombra Vengadora? The name that appears the most in the comments will be the winner. So tell your friends to drop a comment below. And stay tuned because there are a lot more luchas de tres caídas coming your way. Why was the generator inside of an arena? It's on the first floor. It kind of seems like a safety hazard.